What's up, you guys? How you guys doing? Let me know if you can see me very clear. I would really appreciate it. Um, this is Mr. Gigi from the Men's Daily Advice and Encouragement channel. This is part three of Who Was Coach Red Pill, and I appreciate you guys joining. Apologize from earlier. I had some technical difficulties. I'm kind of learning this streaming software. And what I did was I took another device to see if I could see myself because I kindly ask people in my audience, hey, let me know if you could see me. Let me know if you could hear me. And some people just ignore me and they don't respond or engage in the chat. So I got to trust my own judgment. So you see me looking at another device, glancing over here, that's me looking at another device, making sure that I'm live, people can hear me, people can see me, shit like that. You understand? Because I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the best quality content I can. From my perspective, yeah. Because when I seen that last video, I was like, "What the fuck?" I couldn't even. I don't know, man. For real, my face was looking fucked up. Man, it looked like I was a. I don't know. I was looking like, man, I was allergic to something, man, and shit, I looked fucked up over there. I'm telling y'all. So anyway, though, yeah, this is the Men's Daily Advice and Encouragement channel. We're going into Who Was Coach Red Pill, part three, and had some technical difficulties earlier, but I deleted that particular video so I can restart. And yeah, according to this screen and this other device here, it looks like I'm actually coming out clean. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, make sure you click the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. I need to get my subs up. Make sure to share the channel. I really appreciate that. And also to make sure that you press that like button, man. So we got the subscribes, likes, and shares. Okay, I just got to get them. I want to get up there. So if I can get up there, I can get you guys better quality content, improve on things, and hopefully, we can see a better future, and a better tomorrow. So, anyways, I'm gonna play a video, man. A couple videos I got. I'm just gonna shuffle some videos around, bringing back memories of Coach Red Pill, how he was an influence to me. Majority of guys in the red pill space and also the MGTOW space in the manosphere. Okay. He was an influence to me in many ways, from this YouTube channel to just everyday in life, female nature, a lot of the things to avoid, or a lot of the things to put me in a very positive direction. It's just what it was, and I like to give him his flowers, man, and everything, RIP to him. Now, I just don't like the way, though, he passed away, from my understanding, he passed away from pneumonia, inside of the prison, and pretty much, the Ukrainian government and the United States pretty much neglected them. Now, from my understanding, I believe that a lot of the governments, right, the high officials, they didn't even know the man was in there. That's just my opinion. Some people will argue and say, yeah, they didn't know he was in there. I don't want to get in that back and forth to that shit, man. Fuck that, It's just my opinion. I don't believe that fucking Zelensky or Biden or some high ranking officials knew he was in there. But it did get the attention to some celebrities, it got the attention of Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson, man. These are fucking like millionaires and billionaires, okay? And they actually spoke on that shit. They did, If you guys were on my stream yesterday on part two, we went into the letter. I actually sat down and read the letter from the other YouTuber channel, though, right, about Coach Red Pill. And he was writing a letter that was supposed to be towards his sister so they can give, information about his whereabouts and what his condition. And from what I gathered on that letter, that he had pneumonia, right, since mid-October, but they actually announced it December 22nd, which is pretty fucked up. You understand? I mean, that's a lot of time, man. It's like damn near 2 months, man, of just having this pneumonia or what have you, right? And they just didn't announce it. They just kept it tucked away, And like I said, in some of those countries, they got crooked ass guards and shit, man. A lot of crooked guards out there, man. Here in the United States, our guards, man, our police are fucked up. They are. All right. Not saying every single one of them. If you're a police officer or law enforcement watching this channel, I'm not talking about yo ass if you're not doing any crooked or corrupt shit. I'm talking about the majority out there. You know who you are. Part of the good old boy, good old girl system and shit. Part of the corruption, part of the fuckery. You know who the fuck you are. You know who you are. Just keep it real, man. You know what you're doing. Underhanded shit, planting, fucking false evidence on people. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Crookedness, and I believe that crookedness and that corruption was going on there. I mean, why would you give a man who speaks clear English and somewhat some Spanish, man, a fucking Ukrainian attorney that doesn't even understand Spanish or fucking English? That's fucking crazy. You got to remember he's a United States citizen and a Chilean citizen. You understand? He had dual citizenship. You understand? But again, like I said, what he should have done was, and this is just my opinion, okay? All right, make sure you guys click the like button and the subscribe button as you come in, okay? This is just my opinion. He should have worried about his family first, okay? That long ass line of people that was going to Poland, right? That line was long, man, on multiple highways, man. They were getting the fuck up out. That was this key sign right there that, hey, I would have got on YouTube. I would have got on Patreon, man. He made a lot of bread on Patreon, by the way. And I would have told him, man, hey, look, I got to get out this country. Let me worry about my family and my life once we are settled in Poland. Because from Poland, once he gets in Poland, he can leave Poland and go to another country. You see where I'm at? Right? Another country where he's away from the war and his family is away from the war. Then he can go ahead and reset up his new videos. He can set up his new streams, whatever the fuck he wants to. He can do that shit. You understand? But you can't sit back in the country, man, and talk shit about them while they're struggling in the war and then expect that there's not going to be some reprimand that's going to happen. I mean, shit, that's just like the United States, man. If we go to war with any country, right? Do you expect people to stay in this country, talk shit about this country while they're struggling, trying to win this war? You think, well, nothing's going to happen to me because it's my First Amendment right or whatever. Well, you got to remember the whole world doesn't have the First Amendment. The whole world doesn't have the Constitution. The whole world doesn't. Okay. They have their own laws. They have their own way of life of how they do things. You understand? Just because we got the First Amendment right here in our Constitution doesn't necessarily mean I can go to another country and carry over my rights as a citizen to that country. I can't entitle my rights as a citizen here to another country. That's not right. You understand? So, and I believe that's pretty much what went on. But his wife and his kids, man, they were crying, man. They were saying they wanted their dad, man. Because he got two little ones, a boy and a girl. And, he kept saying, hey, he's just going to ride it out there. He's just going to ride it out there. Was it worth him risking his life, to just get a message out there? I don't think so. No, And like I said, I wasn't into the Ukrainian or the Russian propaganda. Okay. That's not something I was attracted to. I wanted that old original Coach Red Pill back. I wanted him back, man. Like, yeah, because man, there was a lot of these guys who call themselves red pillars and dating coaches and shit like that. They were not lacing the amount of knowledge as he would. I mean, he did it from his own perspective. You understand? But it wasn't just females. Let me elaborate. He also talked about finance, man, and psychology, and family. Like he had a shitload of videos. I'm gonna play a couple of them today. I'm gonna play a couple of them today, you guys. So, but anyways, without further ado, make sure you press the subscribe button, like the channel, okay? All right, and also take the link, share the link in multiple different types of groups. I would highly, highly appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. You guys are very, very, very faithful. But anyways, it's getting damn near to 6 degrees here in Kansas City, Missouri. My Kansas City Chiefs is about to play roughly in about 3 hours, so they about to play the Dolphins. So this is for the playoffs, right? It's either win or you go home. I mean, it's just what it is, and we just got to hope we win. That's all that is, It is really cold here. It is. It's extremely cold here, man. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the NFL should basically enforce a temperature cap. That's just my opinion, man. If it goes below a certain level, then, that game is automatically postponed. That's just my opinion. You understand? All right. If it goes down a certain level of degrees, right, it should be postponed. Because these guys got to be pretty much healthy, in my opinion, enough, man, to be in at least some decent weather to play, man. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm not the official to make the rules of the NFL. I like to give suggestions, but for years, people played in way worse weather or the same weather. That's just how it is, Here in Kansas City, Missouri, we got all 4 seasons. So, hey, but unfortunately, yeah, it is very icy outside. It is extremely cold. And there's tons of snow, tons of ice out there, So, yeah, hey, and if you are from my local area, make sure you got your thermostat up, man, and and your kids and your loved ones are safe, man. And keep your ass off them roads, man. You don't need to be slipping and sliding out there, unless you got to get out there, or if you got to walk, man, walk, but just be careful because a lot of them, cars and places out there do a lot of hit and runs out there too, so. But anyways, though, let me go ahead and go to sharing a particular type of video, and hopefully we can go ahead and actually get some things going, man. I hope also, too, you guys have been keeping update of what else has been going on with Coach Red Pill. There's been a lot of videos that's been going out about Coach Red Pill, a lot of videos, okay? All right. Over time, we didn't really see much, but now you're starting to see these videos start, coming to life. You understand? They're starting to come to life, and a lot of people are like, wow, you're starting to see people come out of the woodworks, man. They're starting to come out the woodworks, thanking the guy, talking about how fucked up, the war was, they're talking about a lot of shit right now, and that's one of the biggest things that's really going on there. You understand? So let me see here. Let me go ahead and type this in. Boom. Let me see here. About to find them. Okay, cool. So anyways, let me go ahead and go to my screen. I'm about to go ahead and share this over for you guys. Make sure you click that subscribe button, man, you guys, and that like button. I really appreciate that. Let me see here. Okay. Boom. Okay, cool. So we're going to click on here. I'm going to open this up real quick. This is Better Bachelor's channel. He did a review of it also, too. So I wanted to do a review and look at his channel and actually see what type of information that he actually put on there. And hopefully, this information on here will seem pretty vital to you guys. Okay. So without further ado, here we go.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. I did a video, I don't know, several months ago when Coach Red Pill had been arrested by the SBU. He was detained for a couple of weeks. They didn't really find much on him, from my understanding. And so they released him on his own recognizance. And he said, hey, you know what? They're going to come after me at some point. So I'm going to try to get out of the country. And as he crossed over the border, they arrested him and put him in jail. And apparently he got pneumonia and now he's dead. So Red Pill is dead at 55, at least according to his father and some other news agencies. So we're going to talk about that very quickly. I interviewed him back in March of last year. As a matter of fact, you can see here. I've got an interview where I interviewed him March 18th of 2023, just about the time that he had been arrested. And, there were certain things he could talk about and certain things he couldn't talk about. But it was about a 2-hour long interview. And of course, the media came out and said, oh, he was selling, I don't know, Russian military positions, or excuse me, selling Ukrainian military positions of their troops and this other stuff. And it's kind of like, okay, a journalist, Lira, a journalist who's a married guy with kids that was living in Kharkov at the time. Yeah, he's going to have all these military secrets to sell to the Russians. So, there was a lot of propaganda surrounding it, but apparently, yeah, he's gone ahead and passed. I thought I'd pass this along. A lot of you guys probably already knew it. I didn't really know Coach very well, but I will say that when I wanted to find, when I was kind of first into Red Pill content, watching it long before I ever made it, but when I was watching it, I did a search for Red Pill on YouTube, and Coach was one of the first ones that I found. And
I wonder what happened. Let me see.
Gonzalo, he was a little haughty, a little holier than thou attitude, but he also had some good advice, and I found him quite interesting.
Great advice.
The reason I had even found him in the first place is because I was searching for Red Pill, the movie, and when I typed in Red Pill into the YouTube search, he was one of the names that popped up, and I watched a little bit of his content, and then of course he got demonetized and had a hard time on YouTube for a while. So yesterday I saw this from Tucker Carlson. Gonzalo Lira says his son has died at the age of 55 in the Ukrainian prison, where he was being held for the crime of criticizing the Zelensky and Biden governments. Gonzalo Lira was an American citizen, but the Biden administration clearly supported his imprisonment and torture. Several weeks ago, we spoke to his father, who predicted his son would be ended, and he has his portions of this interview down below. If you look in the community notes, which I am why they let me decide or help decide community notes, I don't know. Apparently Twitter doesn't know me that well. But if you look through the community notes, there's a lot of community notes that said, oh, he was arrested because he's giving away APU positions of the Ukrainians, that he was selling secrets, that he was doing all these things against the Ukrainian government. And if you think to yourself, like, well, how would he know military positions of Ukrainians? Like, he was in downtown Kharkov.
And what was crazy about it, you guys, let me pause that. What was crazy about it, they couldn't prove, right? They couldn't prove that the man was actually selling any of this shit, man. That's why they kept him in there, because they couldn't build a strong case on the man. You understand? They tried to build a case, but they just couldn't. It was crazy, So I don't know, man. It's pretty fucked up the way that I look at it, man. Just falsely accusing the man of something. But at the same time, I'm still sticking to what I said. You can't talk shit about another country while you are in that country and execute the First Amendment rights of the Constitution of the United States in another country. It doesn't work that way. You understand? And like I said, he was in a position where he could have left, man, like twice. 3 strikes you out, man. It's sad, but it's fucked up, man. And I seen, remember I told you guys, I said Tucker Carlson, and also Elon Musk spoke about it. Yeah, he's about to show Tucker Carlson in a little bit, so just sit tight.
Kharkov or Kharkiv, I forget how they pronounce it. He was in downtown just being a journalist, sitting at home, smoking cigarettes and reading material and doing his videos like he normally does. A lot of the slander against him didn't hold up. And if you remember, Biden was very quick to spring Brittany Griner, who had illicit substances in Russia. He was very quick to spring her out of jail. But when questioned directly, the secretary, I don't know if it was the Secretary of State, I don't know who was asked, I don't remember now, but somebody was asked by a reporter, like, hey, what are we doing for Gonzalo Lira? And the U.S. government's just kind of like, whatever. And of course they did nothing, because he was speaking out about money laundering and other things that he was accusing. Hey, Just wait. Wait till.
I don't know. I'm still questioning, did the United States government actually know that that motherfucker was in there? Okay. All right. And I'm still questioning if Zelensky himself actually knew. I'm still questioning that. A lot of people will argue with me and say, yeah, they knew. Yeah, they knew. But what proof do we have that they actually knew that this man was in there? I mean, common sense would have probably told me that if they fucking would have known, man, they would have said, hey, let's get this man up out of here. For real. We got one of ours. We just sent you guys over, what, $200-300 billion worth of, yeah. I mean, come on. You understand? But I don't know. Like I said, they could have, in my opinion, I believe that the crooked ass fucking goddamn police officers and the military that was inside of there that was so crooked, man, they fought everything and they could in their power to make sure that the appropriate people didn't get the information to find out that that man was in there. That's just my opinion. You understand? They fought hard to keep that shit under caps, man. Like, it was sad,
I'm done recording. You always drink while I'm sorry. He was blaming this administration of money laundering and other things, and of course, probably would have spoken out against that if he actually knew anything. I don't think he knew anything for sure, but he had his opinions about it. And when you're in Ukraine and you're speaking poorly of Ukraine and the United States government, where this supposed money laundering is happening, and then they say, hey, we want you to shut up, and you happen to get arrested and be imprisoned and then catch pneumonia, and natural causes, nothing we could do there. I'm sure they were quite happy to have him go away. But
I mean, it goes back to what I said, man. I mean, how do I look talking shit about you, right? But turning around and I'm asking you for help, man. Like, it's crazy. I've spent months and years talking hella shit about you. Any of you guys who's watching this motherfucker, and I'm turning back around. Oh yeah, by the way, man, I know I talked all this shit about you, man, and shit, man. But can you come and help me? No, it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's the reality of things, you guys.
This is from the Gray Zone, and I apologize for any background noise. I have two dogs that have now decided that it's time to play while I record my videos. From the Gray Zone, American citizen Gonzalo Lira dies from neglect in a Ukrainian prison. A prominent commentator on the Russia-Ukraine war was imprisoned in Ukraine for speech critical of the country's government. He's died after weeks of medical neglect by Ukrainian authorities. Let me zoom this up a little bit so you guys can read at home if you'd like to. Chilean-American war commentator Gonzalo Lira died shortly before noon on January 11th, 2024, at a hospital in Kharkiv, where he had been imprisoned for 8 months since he was accused of justifying Russian war efforts in Ukraine. Lira came to prominence in 2022 when he emerged as a critical voice in an increasingly dictatorial Ukraine. His arrest in May 2023 on charges of production and dissemination of materials justifying Russia's armed aggression against Ukraine helped to galvanize domestic oppression to U.S. funds for the war and led to calls for his release by tech baron Elon Musk and American political commentator Tucker Carlson. Now, they say here that he was arrested in May of 2023, and my interview with him was March, so that must have been, I think that was after his arrest. They held him for a week or so, I think, and then released him, and then they came back for him and threw him into the clink for good. So I think my interview was between those two periods with him. A note written by Lira and provided by his father to the Gray Zone indicated his death came at a nearly 3-month battle with pneumonia, a condition which was apparently ignored by his Ukrainian jailers until just weeks before his death. Lira's death was revealed by his father, Gonzalo Lira Sr., who had spent weeks pleading with the American embassy to intervene in his son's medical emergency. Emails reviewed by the Gray Zone show that after learning of his son's illness, the senior Lira urged the embassy to intervene on January 3rd. In a message to U.S. officials, he noted that Ukrainian authorities appeared to make an effort to conceal information about Lira Jr.'s health from his family and legal representatives. The medical warden in the pretrial jail in Kharkiv is not giving information to the state of his health. He wrote, concluding, "It has been 12 days since I knew his state." One thing that I think is important to note here is many people are critical, myself as well, of saying to him, hey, you probably don't want to speak out against the Ukrainians while you're in Ukraine. You know, you're sending these videos.
Like I said, while you're there, okay? You're there in their country. You might not want to talk shit about these people while you're in their country and they're struggling to try to keep what little bit of country they still got. You understand? All right. Y'all heard about Finland. Finland actually admitted, man, we already lost some land from Russia. You understand? And that's part of the reason why Finland said, fuck this, and we're joining NATO. You understand? This shit right here, man, triggered Finland and Sweden, man, to just say, fuck it, and they joined NATO, man. You understand? Because the way they look at it as is that if they're bold enough to go ahead and annex Crimea, they're bold enough to come back over here and take some more of our land too. You understand? I mean, to me, it was a very pragmatic situation. I know a lot of critics say they shouldn't have did this and they shouldn't have did that. They should have maintained neutrality. Fuck that, man. Fuck that. I mean, when you're in a situation where you got to defend your country, man, right, and you don't have at least some backup, that's the time to say, look, man, we got to take these euros, man, and we got to invest it, man, where we know what it's worth, you know, because this Russian aggression ain't no damn joke. You know, we just witnessed this damn country, man, literally came up in this country out of nowhere, right? Military tanks, extra blood, you know, all types of shit, goddamn it, missiles, and hey, they came over there and set up shop and said, man, we about to take y'all shit, man. Fuck this, man. And yeah, they're doing that right now, man. But you can't go into another person's territory, man, talk shit about them and then expect nothing to happen and for them to come to your aid, man. It is sad state of affairs. I don't like how the man passed away. I don't, but it's the reality, you guys. You guys have to realize, I say it again, these countries have their own laws, their own rules, and own way of life.
Out there critical, and Ukraine is known for being very corrupt. Not my opinion. It's been in newspapers and articles right up until the Biden administration decided to get in bed with Ukraine. But before that, if you go back and look at news articles, even from very left-leaning news writers in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, they were very critical of Ukraine being a very dirty, corrupt country. So this isn't like anything new, but him calling it out while he's in Ukraine, not so smart. And it's very unfortunate that he decided to do so, or he should have left first, then reported on what he felt was going on and what. But you know, everybody makes decisions, and
hey, and this is the reason I like Better Bachelor, man. He think the same way I did. What did I say at the beginning of this video? Part 1 and part 2. Right, and even the video that turned out fucked up that I just got done deleting. What did I say? He should have left first, went to Poland or any other country that would allow him to come, got him and his family safe, right, out of harm's way. Number one. Number 2, I would have also threw in there. I would have warned my YouTube audience, my Telegram audience, because he also had a Telegram. I was on his Telegram, and then also would have warned my Patreon, because he made a lot of money off Patreon, man, like a couple $100,000 off Patreon, man. He had a very big following on Patreon, you know, because he had to pull a lot of his videos from YouTube on the Patreon because, you know, like from my understanding, YouTube demonetized them because, and this is just my opinion, there was some people in the audience, right, that didn't like the man's content. They didn't like that man telling the truth. So somebody went behind his back and kept reporting his ass. And over a period of time, they decided to demonetize him. That's it. That's what happens when you get haters, man. You know, they'll do everything in their power to shut your channel down or shut down your success, man. But it's cool. He made a lot of money on Patreon. You know, he just had to continue his business elsewhere. And that's why on this channel, I tell you guys, make sure you guys have backup channels, you know, other alternative channels, and just in the event you get shut down, you understand, or get demonetized. You know, like this channel here, I'm linked to Rumble. So every time I go live or record something that is just content that I'm not going live on, whatever, right? That shit automatically, right now, I am live on Rumble. You go on Rumble, right? You go on Rumble right now and look up, right? On there, I got a different name. It's MRGGSOLO. MRGGSOLO. Mr. GG Solo. Go on there, look that up. You will see me live right now on Rumble right now. I also, too, got a Rumble link inside of the description of my channel, you know, and then also, too, in my About section, too, if you want to sub and go to my Rumble channel, because Rumble's more freedom of speech. You understand? And you have to think as a MGTOW and a red pill person, or if you're part of the Passport group, that for you to have the audacity to tell men the truth and warn them of what the fuck is going on, is going to offend a lot of people that's been trying to hide the truth from us. Did you know that? That's just what it is. So yeah, shout out to Rumble. Also shout out to Locals too. You know, Locals is a good one because Rumble actually acquired Locals about 2 years ago too, man. You know, so that's a double whammy, man. You know, it's like an alternative of Facebook, but you still got to pay. You understand? So, but you get privileges with it. You know, mostly that freedom of speech, man, it's a bad beast. You know, you can charge a dirt cheap fee like $1 a month, right? Yeah, man, people will pay that $1 a month. Hell yeah, shit, $1 a month just to hear you spit some real shit. Yeah, I mean, you can charge higher. You can charge, you know, $25, $100, but you got to look at it from the average man's perspective. You understand? You know, and they got different tiers that you can charge in there. So yeah, but Rumble's free, man. Just set up a free account. Link your Facebook account on there, right? I mean, you link your YouTube account on there. So when you link it, every time when you upload a video, right, or every time you go live, boom, Rumble's going live at the same time, man. So anyways, let me get back to the video.
Well, he made his as well. The other thing I think that is kind of interesting about this whole thing is that, you know, supposedly Ukraine and the United States, we're just like this, and we're best buddies, and we're going to go out there and fight Russia and handle all these problems. But the United States did absolutely nothing for an American citizen in Ukraine. You'd think if we were just such good allies and everything was going along well, there would be no problem to get him returned home. But mum is the word. So basically, in Ukraine, it is okay to end an American citizen, and the Biden administration doesn't seem to care. So that is that. They say from the gray zone, U.S. citizen Gonzalo Lira faces a long prison term in Ukraine for criticizing Kyiv and its war effort. Shunned by the U.S. State Department, his father's fighting to stop the slow ending of his son. The following day, Lira Jr. was finally brought to the hospital, allowed to see his lawyer. The defense attorney left the meeting with a handwritten note from Lira explaining the situation, which is believed to be his final written correspondence.
Remember yesterday, you guys, if you guys were on this channel on part 2, I actually read this letter verbatim of what it said, though, man. It was sad, but yeah, man, it was real, though, man. But yeah, he got the letter. How did the other parties get access to that letter? I do not know. But yeah, man, but now the letter is available. I did read it yesterday. I don't want to repeat it, so let's go ahead and listen.
The letter reads, I've had double pneumonia, both lungs, as well as pneumothorax, and a very severe case of edema, swelling of the body. All this started mid-October, but it was ignored by the prison. They only admitted I had pneumonia at a December 22nd hearing. I'm about to have a procedure to reduce the edema pressure in my lungs, which is causing me extreme shortness of breath to the point of passing out after minimal activity or even just talking for 2 minutes. Unconvinced that his son would receive proper medical care in Ukrainian hospital, Gonzalo Lira Sr. continued to plead with the embassy to monitor the situation. The next day, he wrote them again. I need the embassy to keep close touch while he's in the hospital to ensure his health is progressing while in the hospital. You should also contact a doctor in charge of Gonzalo while in the hospital to verify his recuperation. But his efforts proved fruitless. A week later, Lira Sr. wrote worst fears were confirmed when he received word that his son had died. He now blames Washington and Kyiv for his death. He said, I cannot accept the way my son has died. He was all the bad things that happened to him. He was extorted incommunicado for 8 months and 11 days, and the U.S. Embassy did nothing to help my son, Lira Sr. stated in an email announcing the news. The responsibility of this tragedy is with the dictator Zelensky, with the concurrence of a senile American president, Joe Biden, he wrote, adding, my pain is unbearable. The world must know what is going on in Ukraine with that inhumane dictator Zelensky. As the world's attention shifts from the Western proxy war in Ukraine, Lira Sr. joins the hundreds of thousands of fathers now grieving the deaths of their sons. Unlike most of them, his son did not end on a battlefield, but in a prison for condemning the war that doomed so many to an ignominious fate. I've spoken about this, and I've made posts on X several times where I said, look, no matter how many funds and no matter how much we send to Ukraine, it is not going to work. I said this probably close to a year ago. It's not going to be enough. Russians have no problems sending every last male body they have into this to win, and they have more bodies than Ukraine does.
It's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. And not just bodies they got, man. They got resources out of the ass over there, man. Resources like a motherfucker, man. For real. You got to remember, man, as long as Europe is dependent upon them as far as getting oil, man, you know, they can dodge those sanctions with no problem, man. Okay? Because that's still a income. You understand? Better some income than no income, man. Like, it's just really it is, man, for real. But Russia got a lot of resources over there, man. They do, man. All right. But if they'd have triggered an article inside of the NATO doctrine, man, for NATO to go to war, yeah, it would have been a way better situation, but nothing was triggered. You understand? Nothing was triggered. You know, it was close. It was close to being triggered. You know, when I think there was a drone that landed in Poland. Yeah, it was close though, right? But you know, hey, who knows, man? Make sure to click that like button. I see you guys coming in. Click the subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
And so it's just going to be a war of attrition, even if both sides were equal. The amount of ammunition and everything that Russia has versus Ukraine is lopsided. And now they're getting to the point. I saw a photo where, I'm not making any commentary on what's right or what's wrong. I'm just saying what I've seen. That a lot of the Ukrainian men that are over there now that are fighting are in their 50s and 60s. I've seen some photos of, there's a video going around of a mentally challenged man fighting for Ukraine. They didn't give him a gun, but he was supposed to, I guess, help hand out ammo. And he looked like he had Down syndrome. Dude. And they didn't even give him a gun. It was in the trenches. This is such a messed up situation. And in the end, you know, I've kind of been against this conflict since the beginning. Not that I'm rooting for Russia or anything like that. I mean, the aggression by Russia is certainly wrong. But you have to know when it's time to sit down to the negotiation table. And there were multiple times that Ukraine wanted to, and President Biden and Boris Johnson were like, "No, we'll give you everything you need to withstand and push back against Russia." And the problem is, yeah, they gave them lots of money and lots of ammo and tanks and other things. They just didn't have enough warm bodies. And now that it's kind of fallen out of favor with politics here in the United States, Ukraine's just going to be left to its fate. And they're going to have to sit down and they're going to have to negotiate just like they would have a year ago. The only difference is they've thrown, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian lives away. And because of that, probably several 100,000 Russian lives has been lost as well. And if you want to blame, who to blame all those lives lost? I mean, if you want to know who I blame, it's going to be Putin. You know, it's his aggression that caused all this, and because of that, that's why all these men are gone. But we could have at least stopped halfway or partial way, realizing that this was not going to be a situation that was going to be winnable, and they could have at least sat down to the negotiation table hundreds of thousands of men ago.
And also hundreds of thousands of dollars ago, too. Dollars. There was a lot of money, man, that was inside of this war, man. A lot of money, man. But also, too, he's right. There was a lot of lives lost, man, for no apparent fucking goddamn reason, you know. And as far as negotiations, man, I don't think Putin's in a position to really negotiate. He just wants those guys. As long as he can get the land that he wants, he's going to get it. If anything, he really wants all of Ukraine. That's just how he operates or what have you, you know. So, and in my opinion, it's just my opinion, Ukraine was looking for a way to trigger NATO, man, to actually come in that motherfucking war, man, and fuck Russia up, man. They were looking for that shit. But you got to remember, Russia may got the most nukes, man, but we got like all of NATO, man. We got all of NATO, man. That's a lot of fucking goddamn countries, man. You know, for real. You know, just to come across Russia, man. Russia don't want that time, man. They don't, man. So, but yeah, man, it's sad, man, the way he went, man. But it's true though, man. A lot of blame is on Putin, man. A lot of it is, or what have you, you know. But when you got people, man, who are stubborn, you can't convince them. You can't talk reason to them. This is the type of results that you get. You understand?
And, you know, it's sad that this whole situation has come down to politics. It's come down to what it has. It's just very sad. So, you know, Coach was one of the first guys that I saw and I came across on YouTube with his content into the red pill and manosphere kind of stuff. I didn't always agree with him, but I liked the guy. He was personable. I think he was friendly. We had an interesting conversation, and I think it's a shame that he's gone. You know, I think that I think this whole thing is a shame. We've lost so many good men. Maybe they were bad men too. I don't know, but they just throw bodies into the meat grinder until they get what they want, and I don't like politicians for that.
Either.
If nothing else, especially for that. So I will leave it there. Guys, I'll have another video out for you shortly. We'll see you.
Yeah, man. I don't like politicians for that shit either, man. But at the same time, man, this is the bullshit that we get. This is the bullshit that we get, man. You know, it's sad, but it's true, man. You know, you heard about the shit about the United States, the UK, and Yemen. You know, I don't know if you guys been paying attention to that little bit of war that's going on. You understand? It's a little small war, but, you know, it triggered something. You understand? You know, so, but yeah. So, but anyways, without further ado, got another video I'm going to go ahead and play for you very, very shortly. I like to play one, man, about Elon Musk, man, mentioning this, man. Yeah, I wanted to, you know, play Elon Musk, man. It was Elon Musk with Tucker Carlson, and he was talking about, I think it was Elon Musk talking about Coach Red Pill. And what he did, though, right, was he basically said that pretty much that we got a fucking problem. You understand? We got a fucking problem. You understand? You know? It's not a little problem, but it is a big ass problem. You understand? I'm trying to find the video. I don't think I can find that motherfucker. I really can't. I don't know. So, oh my God, it's sad, man. It's sad, man. Let me see if I can find my boy Tucker. Give me one moment, you guys. Make sure you guys click that like button. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are a blessing to me. I really appreciate that shit. You know, let me see. I'm trying to find it, motherfucker. I think it's gone, man. I'm trying to find it, shit, you know. Yeah, man. see, trying to look this up, man. But nah, man. But I just want to tell y'all, man. It just doesn't make any damn sense the way the man meant, man. It just don't. But hey, man, like I said, these are the cards that he was dealt, man. These are the cards that he was dealt. You know, do I wish any harm on the man? No, I don't. You know, do I wish that the man could have handled it a totally different way? I sure do. I sure do. You know, he could have lived. He could have lived his life a totally different way. You understand? In terms of how to handle that particular situation, because I agreed with a lot that he said. There were some things I disagree with. There were some things I disagree with. I ain't gonna bullshit you. But the vast majority, yeah, I fucking agree with them and shit. Just like Tom Likas. Tom Likas is one of my top guys I still follow to this day. He's old school. But do I agree with 100% of everything that Tom Likas say? No. But the vast majority, I say high 90, maybe 95%. Yeah, he's like spot on the money, man. He is spot on the money. Hands down. Okay. Hands motherfucking down. You understand? You know, so I don't know, man. It's really fucking sad, but it's real though, man. Let me see. What is that? Let me see. I think I found it. No, I'm not about to go through all that shit. Yeah. Yeah, I am. Hold on. Let me see. I think I found something real good. Here's a video here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of skip through it. And then as I skip through this video, man, hopefully, you know, this video will actually give you guys some good, you know, clarity on what's going on here. And let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come here. I hope you guys having a great afternoon. I know I am, man. Shit, you know, as long as I'm not in that fucking goddamn cold ass weather, man. It's cold, motherfucker, out there, man. It's cold, man. It is. It's not no joke out there, you know. So anyway, I stumbled upon this video. I'm gonna kind of skip through it. They said it's about an hour and 45 minutes. I'm gonna just kind of skip through it and try to get some notes in here, you know. So, anyways, let me play this video. And hopefully this can bring some clarity of what's going on about Coach Red Pill.
Those folks who came in supporting the work via Cash App, Super Chat, PayPal. Shout out to Carlos. He is basically expressing that he's a SPED teacher and he perhaps would like some assistance with something. You can email me at marquettism.com. That's so what I want to do first is I want to review the initial tweet, and I don't even like saying tweet, but I want to review the initial tweet by Tucker Carlson. And Tucker states right here in this initial tweet, which came December 10, 2023, which was not a long time ago. In fact, that was less than a month ago. He writes, Gonzalo Lira is an American citizen who's been tortured in a Ukrainian prison since July. Okay, so perhaps it was torture. That's what Carlson says. I find him to be a reasonably reliable person. He writes, for the crime of criticizing Zelensky. You see, that actually should not be a crime. And our legal system is corrupt, and you can only imagine how corrupt it is in Ukraine. You see, unlike most of America, I was familiar with Ukraine before the war started. That's why it's so comical that we should send any amount of aid to Ukraine, because most Americans couldn't point it out on a map and say maybe 3 years ago they'd never heard of it. And all of a sudden it's a critical partner. So, you know, why we're donating, I know why, but the American citizen doesn't know why. And if the American citizen doesn't know why and it doesn't benefit them, their tax dollars should not be allocated to such things.
I agree.
But anyways, apparently it's a crime to speak ill of Comrade Zelensky. I say comrade, not in that they're communists, but in that they are autocrats and they are everything that the communists have been accused of being, which is those who suppress freedom of speech, those who imprison their political enemies, yes, those who are anti-democratic. Quote from Tucker Carlson, December 10, he writes, Biden officials approve of this because they'd like to apply the same standard here. Uh-oh, this man going on the attack. The media agrees. Here's a statement from Gonzalo Lira's
Listen up, y'all.
father.
Listen up.
Okay, so perhaps these are timestamps in this video. I didn't even know that Twitter had video timestamps. I'm not going to click them. I'm actually going to, this is a 19-minute video. I'm going to let it play through. I think it's worth hearing from Tucker Carlson. Despite him always wearing this disgusting suit and necktie and shirt combination, he's still worth listening to.
He talking that
Just
shit.
side note from everyone else, you know, you either do a pattern on the tie or a pattern on the shirt, but not both.
Don't talk
Not
about
both.
Tuck
It's just
Tuck, man.
unnecessary. It's too much, but it's fine. Carry on.
Little Tuck Tuck.
February of 2022, the Russian military rolled across the border of eastern Ukraine. And then for the next year and a half, the American media and political establishment spent, what's fair to say, a disproportionate amount of time talking about Ukraine and America's obligation to support Ukraine, pay for Ukraine's military and its government, and of course support it morally, and above all to hate Russia. And most Americans obey.
And Carlson is being accurate, which I've observed him do many times. He mentions one thing that we often don't think about critically, which is the obligation of the American to hate Russia. It's like, what has Russia ever done to us? Has Russia ever attacked the continental United States and or Alaska and Hawaii? Never once have they attacked us. And ironically, traditional American values are the same values we see reigning in Russia today. You know, values for the family, values of religion and culture, and the maintenance of that tradition. These are the things that historically have been prominent in American culture and thinking and political ideology. Only recently, in recent decades, has this changed. And so the truth is, historically, America going up against Russia, you know, at some level was because, you know, they're communists, we're capitalists. I get that. But when Russia stopped pushing international international communism, then really we had no real fight with them. And for those of you who are not privy to the history, if I might briefly either remind you or introduce you to the history, and you've not been taught it because American public schools are atrocious. And when I say public schools, that means government schools. So yes, the government has intentionally made you ignorant. You see, initially when there was the revolution that basically displaced the czars in Russia, which were the aristocrats, the royal family. So when the crown was removed from Russia, so to speak, through murder, actually, the czar was murdered and his family was also murdered. And this was essentially done by those whom we would come to be called the communists, those who are the Bolsheviks. The Bolshevik and Menshevik, these are Russian terms. Bolshevik meaning the majority, Menshevik meaning the minority. Even among the communists, they had disagreements, and so they split into two factions. And Vladimir Ilyich Prokofiev.
I'm gonna go ahead and rush through this shit, man. I don't want to hear no damn history lesson from him. Let's talk about my boy, man. We got to talk about my boy, man.
Lived in Ukraine for quite some time, and he posted, particularly on.
Yo, listen, if I ever go out or get in prison or get bodied, number one, I don't have any photos that bad. I don't think I have any photos that bad. But yo, please, like, you see somebody like putting up photos like this, like, please just send them a DM and share a better photo. Like, good Lord. I mean, Brody looks like, yeah. Look, he passed away. I'm holding back.
Twitter his accounts of what life was like there and his view of how the war was going. And so for people who are interested in what was happening, he was worth watching. Here's one of his reports.
The Russian economy is sailing on, sailing on. European economy, people are starting to die of hypothermia in the UK.
This guy's a degenerate. He's a degenerate. And I say that because not only is he a cigarette smoker, which is degenerate, he's such a degenerate that he can't even take out the time to give a 3-minute video without lighting up a cigarette. He's an addict. It's disgusting. And what's worse is that he's a shameless addict. So he's doing this disgusting behavior in front of those who admire him, which is suggesting that it's okay, or, you know, hey, maybe I should do it. Why? Because we emulate those that we admire. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Listen, man, I don't want to hear nothing about no degenerate, whatever the fuck you're saying, okay? All right? If he's a degenerate or whatever the fuck you're saying, man, hey, The point is, hey, the man's stressed out, man, because of the situations he in. Okay, all right. He got himself in a fucked up situation. You understand? But now he's in a situation where he's looking for solutions. You understand? And that's just what it is, man. So I'm gonna click off this guy, man. This guy's full of shit. You know. But like I said, though, when it all boils down to it, and when it's all said and done, you guys, hey, man, we all gonna have our own problems. We all gonna have our own solutions. So, I was trying to find another one, man. It was a really good one, man. It was a really good one, man. I had found, man, and not just skipping around, man, and shit. Man, I was looking at a couple of them, and shit, damn, I'm kind of kicking my ass right now, man, for not fucking keeping that shit, man. Like, for real. Where's that motherfucker at? He was a really good supportive guy of this guy. And I was listening to this gentleman's content. Here it go. Yeah, I was listening to this content a lot, man. All right, here's one, man. I want to play with his dad, with his dad on there. There it is. Got his daddy on there and everything, man. One thing a good parent don't like to do, even though if we disagree and don't get along with our kids, is having our kids pass away before us, man. That's like some really fucked up shit, man. So, but anyways, you guys, let me play this video. This is what his dad and a couple other gentlemen that actually interviewed with him on a regular basis as far as this Russia and this Ukrainian war. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video.
All right, Alexander, we are here with Gonzalo Lira Sr. joining us from Chile. Gonzalo Sr., how are you doing today?
Thank you for the introduction and the pleasure of being with you, Alex and Alexander. I can imagine not so well having my son in a Ukrainian dungeon.
We will talk about that in this video. So, Alexander, I'm going to allow you to ask questions of Gonzalo Sr., and we'll go for about 20, 30 minutes in this recording. And let's talk about everything that's going on with your son, Gonzalo Lira. Alexander, I am passing it off to you.
Thank you, Alex. Well, first of all, I should say also thank you to Gonzalo Sr. We are very privileged and honored to have you on our program. It is very important, I think, that everybody who watches and follows our programs remembers Gonzalo, who is in the dungeon in in Ukraine, not Chile, the Ukraine that Gonzalo Sr. was talking about. Gonzalo is somebody who's appeared many times on our programs. We've had wonderful, valuable interaction with him. And it is important to remember always that the reason he is in prison in Ukraine is because he went onto YouTube, said things which were opinion points and points that carried an awful lot of truth. He was exercising, in other words, his rights as a citizen of the United States, as a free person, to express his views and state his opinions, things he did on an American platform protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. And the United States government is under a duty and an obligation to help Gonzalo in this plight. And yet, nonetheless, despite the fact that Ukraine has these obligations to the United States, despite the fact that the United States exercises so much influence in Ukraine, Gonzalo is still in that Ukrainian dungeon. He is in that dungeon, but he is not forgotten. We all here speak for him. And as I said, we are very privileged to have Gonzalo Sr. to speak for him today. Now, Gonzalo, I think you have something you wanted to read for us about your son. And perhaps you could start by telling us that and perhaps reading it for us.
Alexander. In seeing the hearing, the last hearing my son had to held, if you will, the Ukrainian government, and I quote from the December 21st hearing, has accused him of committing crimes against peace, human security, and international legal order. This is under Article 436-2 and 3. Due to the brutal prison condition in which they have my son, he got double pneumonia as well as pneumothorax. This is a life-threatening clinical condition which requires emergency treatment in a hospital. He did not make the court appearance because of the state of his health. And it only came to light, the bad state of his health, because he couldn't attend the hearing, as I said, December 22nd. His physical aspect was awful. His face had a bluish purple color, which is typical of having severe lack of oxygen in his body. Despite his state and having a so-called medical doctor in court, the court ruled that he should go back and continue at the prison ward. Insofar as the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine, they finally answered my letter dated December 29th. I have sent many letters that have been unanswered.
You guys, this is Coach Red Pill, Gonzalo Lira's father. Okay, he's giving us his eyes and his mindset of what he believed went on and what he has done to try to get some type of results, positive results, to prevent his son from passing away. Make sure you guys click the like button, share the video. Also, too, make sure you click the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. I see you guys coming and going and coming. I really see you guys, but make sure you press the subscribe button, click the like button. You also are welcome to engage in the chat. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But this is Gonzalo Lira's father, along with two other YouTubers that he used to get on live with and discuss the Ukraine and Russia situation.
This time they answered, a very diplomatic answer, that they would be keeping in touch with Gonzalo. We are keeping in touch with Gonzalo via video conferences. If this is true, why did they become aware of the critical state of health only because he could not attend the December court hearing? He became ill in mid-October, 2 months before the court hearing. Either the embassy is lying or Gonzalo cannot speak to them, but in his voice, and he kept coughing constantly. Anybody would have identified that that person was ill. I want the world to know that the government of a dictator in Ukraine has done to my son. Viktor Serkovny, the defense attorney, last Thursday, the 4th of January, went to jail and was told that Gonzalo had been taken urgently to a hospital. Less than 2 weeks after his video appearance in that court. My son gave Victor, his defense attorney, a letter to his sister that I would like to read to you. I have double pneumonia as well as pneumothorax, plus a severe case of edema, swelling of the body. All this started in mid-October, but was ignored by the prison. They only admitted that I had pneumonia at a December hearing. He had double pneumonia. His lungs had fallen. It's a very serious clinical case.
It's deep, man. Shit's deep, man.
Case. I'm about to have a procedure to reduce the edema pressure in my lungs, which is causing me extreme shortness of breath to the point of passing out after minimal activity, or even just talking for 2 minutes. That's all he said to his sister, Maria Elena, my daughter. Pneumothorax is a life-threatening clinical condition which requires emergency treatment. This occurs, among other causes, from heavy blows to the breastbone. Gonzalo accused the jailers when he attempted to cross the border to Hungary. As you may recall, he placed 3 videos. And in those videos, he said that he had been tortured while in prison. And I suspect that that torture is still going on. The U.S. Embassy, through video conferences, my dear friends Alex and Alexander, will never know the physical state a prisoner may be, will never know the real state of conditions he is in that prison, because the jailers are right next to him. And he will only be able to communicate what the jailers want you to hear.
You guys listen up. This is Gonzalo Lira's father, a.k.a. Coach Red Pill's father, giving his states and status and hypothesis of what he believes will happen, what has occurred, certain messages that he has sent for a plea for his own son to keep his life. This is a pretty deep situation, pretty deep information. I had no idea that his father actually made this type of plea. I heard he had talked to Tucker Carlson and I believe Elon Musk, but this is hearsay, you understand? So I don't know.
They're very naive, the U.S. Embassy. Finally, and this is unbelievable, after 6 months in jail, incommunicado, the judge authorized Gonzalo to speak to his sister. It has been impossible because the prison warden told the defense lawyer the system is out of order. Almost 2 months have passed and the system is still out of order. What has the embassy done? The U.S. Embassy in Kiev finally began contacting my son around September. This is after more than 5 months in jail. The contact was through video conference. This is not enough. How naive, as I said before, can they be? This is not a common criminal case. This is a political accusation from a dictator. How can the world stand for this? How can the USA continue giving support to Ukraine, military as well as cash? And don't forget, cash. If this is the kind of help the State Department provides to its citizens, on the other hand, spending billions of dollars helping Ukraine fight a lost war, is this the kind of America the founding fathers and presidents like Eisenhower had in mind? Are we so ignorant that we still believe in the domino theory? Is Biden governing for the military industry like so many are saying? In recent days, the U.S. stands globally isolated in its support of Israel's genocidal actions against the Palestinians. This is plain cruelty against human beings for expressing his different points of view. Gonzalo was communicating the truth of what's going on in this war. Is it because on March the year 2022, a month after the invasion of Ukraine, he predicted that Ukraine, with all the help of the USA and NATO, could never win a war against Russia in Europe. Is it because Gonzalo stated that the financial sanctions against Russia would backfire to the USA? Is Gonzalo so important that merits to be in prison? Many are saying that one call from the USA would have Gonzalo released. How can the USA give more than $100 billion to this dictator that has destroyed his own country? How can Biden keep insisting that we're defending democracy while he's destroying Ukraine? All Zelensky had to do to prevent the invasion was an assurance to Putin that Ukraine would not enter NATO. Wasn't that what President Kennedy did in 1962? My dear friends, the world has to open their eyes. We cannot have governments like Biden in the USA and that dictator Zelensky in poor Ukraine. He has destroyed his own country. All he needed when Putin was asking, do not enter NATO. I won't enter then. It's easier not to enter the NATO than destroy my own country, for crying out loud. I mean, how stupid can you be that you can get into a war with Russia? Russia, from many years ago, has been arming themselves ever since they were the Soviet Union. Now that they broke the Union, and they also broke the Warsaw Pact, why didn't we break NATO at that time and shake hands and stop the stupidity of the domino theory, for crying out loud?
Good point.
The USA has no business in this war, but let alone helping somebody like Zelensky, who was placed by the CIA as the president of Ukraine. Nobody wins an election with that high percentage vote. Come on. I'm 81. I'm no stupid.
Wow. And he said he's 81. Wow. Some pretty dark shit, man. Some pretty dark shit. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video right there. I got one more video I'm going to play. You guys can look at the rest of the video. Go to the DuranChannel.com, or not .com. I'm sorry. Type in the Duran channel on YouTube, and you can actually see the rest of this video, the Duran channel, and you can see the rest of this video. So, yeah. So, shout out to the Duran channel. And shout out to Gonzalo Lira's father, man. I know his father is really hurt, really disappointed, because, like I said, any good parent, the last thing you want to do is see your child actually pass away before you do. You understand? Any good parent, the last thing you want to do is see your child pass away first before you do, you know, because some parents figure that if their child passed away before they did, they failed their child. That's not always the case, but, you know, that's just how some parents actually look at things. You understand? So, yeah. So, but anyways, you guys, thank you for coming in. I got one more video I'm going to play. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. I really appreciate it. You know, this is Who Was Coach Red Pill Part 3. I'm just going to continue on with a series of this. I'm really enjoying making these series of Gonzalo Lira and Coach Red Pill videos, you know, because like I said, he was an inspiration to myself, you know, and a lot of people, you understand, you know. I appreciate also doing, you know, reviews of some of these other videos, you know. It was very inspiring, you know, very powerful, you know, and very interesting, you understand, you know. So a lot of people who did know about Coach Red Pill, right? Some of them know about him in a negative way, and then some of them know about him in a positive way. You know, I mean, everybody got their own ways, you know, of kind of looking at things. You understand? But it's just from my point of view, you know, that, hey, you know, he just had his own way of doing things. You understand? You know, so yeah. So, but anyways, though, I got one more video I'm gonna get ready to play. You know, this one right here is one of my favorite videos, and then I'm gonna keep on going with the Godzilla and Coach Red Pill series. You know, so yeah. Without any further ado, here we go.
You know, I do these videos telling you whom not to date. Don't date this girl, don't date that girl, don't date single mothers, don't date damaged girls and whatnot. And here's another of those videos. It's, you know, don't date unhappy girls. But you see, it's easier to find the negative than the positive. It's easier to discount someone because they carry some negative trait than it is to vote in favor of somebody because they have a positive trait. People have different positive traits. Women have a whole bunch of different positive traits and virtues. And so the issue is, you know, trying to find the one who has the right virtues is silly, but it's much easier to find and discard those girls who have defects. And unhappy girls are, unfortunately, I've had some experience with unhappy girls. Some years ago, I dated an unhappy girl for almost a year, just shy of a year, as a matter of fact. And she was lovely. She was tall, pretty, thin, great body. She was, what, 24 at the time that we were dating? And, you know, she could have had any guy, really. I mean, she was that pretty and that, you know, interesting. But the problem was that at her core, she was so unhappy. She was so unhappy, and worse still, nothing gave her joy. Nothing that I did, nothing that happened around us during the time that we dated, gave her any kind of happiness. She was always like semi-morose. And sometimes I just ask myself, well, you know, why was she with me? You know? Because she didn't seem to be happy. And for a while I thought, you know, maybe I'm doing something wrong or whatnot. But no. It was her constitution, her very soul was just so unhappy. I'll give you a specific example. Like one time I bought her a very expensive computer because she was into photography, and her computer was just not running Photoshop anymore. It was an old computer. And I don't remember if it broke down or had issues. It didn't really matter. I decided, hey, I'm just gonna buy her one. I bought her a very good Macintosh computer, and I gave it to her like a big surprise. It wasn't like her birthday or a special day or Valentine's or any nonsense like that. No, I just bought it and I gave it to her, and I made it like a big surprise, right? And I made it like a big surprise, and I thought that she'd be happy. And her reaction, in a weird way, kind of broke my heart. Her reaction was, oh, that's nice. That was it. You know, there was no joy, you know. I'm not asking for somebody to be like exaggerated about their, you know, emotional feedback. You know, I wasn't expecting her to just dance for joy and do some cartwheels or something. That would have been foolish, of course. But I did expect something, some kind of demonstration that she was happy. But that was it. Oh, that's nice. But whenever she got upset, holy cow, it was monumental. It was like this volcano ready to explode. And it was, it was a little bit terrifying, to tell you the truth. I was always a little worried about pissing her off somehow, that I might say the wrong thing or do something or whatnot. And because of this tension, quickly I started to not really care if she got upset or not. Yeah, because you as a man can't live on a walk on eggshells every second of the day that you're with some woman, your girlfriend or wife. You can't. And after a while you get tired of it. And after a while you don't really care. You don't really care if you upset her. And sometimes, because of these eruptions, because it's just constant tension, in a weird way, you want to poke the bear. You want to like do things to annoy her, to piss her off, because you're living in tension. Yeah, and that living in tension was just, because of it, it was hard to really get to know her. I mean, we dated for almost a year. I mean, we saw each other pretty much every day. Huh? She would come to my place from work and just hang out and be there overnight, and then the next morning she'd go to work and I'd go to work, and then we'd be together that evening and have dinner together and the whole thing. But in all that time, those hours and hours that we spent together, I didn't get to know her much. And do you know why? Because I was never at ease. She was so unhappy that I never felt that I could just ease into something perhaps a little upsetting, but getting to know her a little bit more. I never really got to know her because of this unhappiness that just, it didn't, how could I put it? I didn't want to provoke anything that would make her even more unhappy. You see? We broke up on multiple occasions. I broke up with her on 3 separate occasions. And finally, I actually kind of ghosted on her. I just couldn't take it. I just needed a break. I just needed to get away from her. And, you know, when I sort of like semi-ghosted on her, when she eventually got hold of me, she was screaming and furious at me, you know? And she was so unhappy, and it just, I couldn't take it anymore.
I don't know. I just, I kind of been in a similar situation. I had a woman who I was involved with, and she just naturally looked unhappy. She always had like this natural look where her regular look was a fucking me mug. You understand? It was like a fucking just a me mug, like her. That was her regular look. And I kept asking her, and I said, well, why don't you smile sometime? Crack a grin or laugh or some shit, right? And she said she would have to try it. It's like she would force herself to smile. It went from this to, and it's like as she was trying to force herself to smile, she was still looking mean at the same time. Listen, I swear to God, she was looking mean. I know it sounds like contradictory, but as she was looking mean, because her natural look is looking mean as fuck, right? So she would have to force a smile out of the meanness because that was her fucking natural look, whatever. I had to leave her alone because it wasn't just the look, but whenever she got angry, sad, or pissed off, it fit right in with how she just naturally looked, man. I just couldn't deal. I don't know. I couldn't deal with a woman who's just always, they look depressing. They look mean. They look evil all the time. I can't deal with it. I can't, all right, and that's why I was laughing my ass off when Kevin Samuels made that video that went super viral about smiling, telling that chick that how come you don't smile or whatever, right? Instead of giving rustic bitch face, Go look that video up by Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm talking about. So I don't know, man. Every guy, we have our own standards. We have our own expectations on wants, on needs, and sometimes you can only tolerate certain shit for so long. You understand? So.
And sometimes I think about her, and I think about how lovely she was, because she was. I think about how feminine she was. I think about all the things that she did for me. I mean, the sex was great, right? She was willing to have sex all the time. But here's what's interesting. She didn't get any joy out of it. No, for her, the sex was kind of like the thing that she had to do in order to maintain our relationship, I mean, a lot of times I didn't really want to have sex with her. I wanted to like hang out and just talk, because you can't be like screwing like bunnies all the time, right? But she sort of like insisted on having sex all the time, even when she didn't really want to. And I sensed that she didn't really want to. And it was sort of like, she was like throwing me a bone. And it was just so weird and so sad. And the thing is, see, I knew at the time, and certainly after the fact, that nothing I could have done or said would have changed how unhappy she was. It was just in her soul. A few of the things that she told me about her background and whatnot made me understand a little bit as to the origins of her unhappiness. But here's the thing, the key issue. She made absolutely no effort to make herself happy, to get out of this unhappiness hole. She stayed there and made absolutely sure that there was no way for her to get out of this hole. Yeah, she had a dead-end job. She made no effort to improve her situation. She was actually a very good photographer, but she didn't try to sell her work, get gigs. She could have gotten gigs. I mean, she was that good. She had a great eye. And actually, I got her a camera. I'd forgotten that. Yeah, I got her a camera, a very good camera, to help her along in her career. And she'd fiddle endlessly on Photoshop on her pictures and whatnot, but she would never show them to anybody. She would never actually try to succeed as a photographer. And she remained working as she did as a waitress. That was her job. And she hated it. It made her miserable, but she made no effort to get a better job. She made no effort to get paying gigs as a photographer as she could have. She made no effort to get out of her unhappiness. And that's the thing about unhappy girls. In a weird way, they're happy in their misery. And they will drag you down with her. And eventually, she will start to focus on you as the cause of your unhappiness. That's the thing. And I think that was the reason that ultimately I just didn't want to be with her, because I felt slowly but surely that her searchlight, her blame searchlight, if you will, was going to inevitably fall on me. I was going to be the reason that she was unhappy, or she would explain it to herself. And I would be stuck with her, with a person who blamed me for the unhappiness of her soul. Yeah, I don't mind telling you that for a while, we tried to get pregnant. Back when things were going well, or I thought that they were going semi-well. I mean, I really wasn't thinking, guys, you don't really think about the relationship. You figure that if you got the girlfriend and she's around long enough and she's all right, then, maybe why not have a kid, Yeah. I mean, that's sort of like the way you think. And for a time, we tried to have a kid. Thank God it didn't happen. It just didn't happen, not for lack of effort, but because, circumstances. And thank goodness, because then I would have been tied to this woman who would have been so unhappy all of her life. Nothing I would have done would have changed her unhappiness. And ultimately, she would have started to blame me for her unhappiness.
Yeah, it's just been a fucking drain. That's all it's been. Just a fucking drain. And I've been through that shit, After a period of time, you're trying to make this woman happy, right? And let's say you got her everything she needed, you provided, you satisfied her majority of the needs. At the end of the day, is still not good enough or whatever. And so you just end up just, kicking the bitch to the curb, or removing yourself from the situation. That's all you can do, because eventually she's going to blame you, even though you've done all those things. Those particular women, in my opinion, have serious psychological issues, serious psychological problems. But anyway, you guys, I got to go. My Kansas City Chiefs about to play the Dolphins today. They're about to play in about an hour, so that gives me time to make a quick run to the store to get me some drink. Anyways, you guys have a great night. You guys take it easy. This is the Men's Daily Advice and Encouragement channel. We've actually did part 3 of Who Was Coach Red Pill? Part 3, and I'm glad we got a lot accomplished. I apologize for the technical errors earlier where I had to delete one event to start a new event. So anyways, without further ado, you guys take care of each other. You understand? Make sure you guys keep telling the truth. Keep putting the truth out there, man. RIP Coach Red Pill, I may do a part 3 because I'm really enjoying these series, because a lot of these videos, a lot of you guys didn't know about, so why not just do a series on these videos, do a few reviews and things like that, So I'm glad we got a chance to hear some information from his father. I'm glad we got to hear some brief information from that other YouTuber, he was a fucking pessimistic asshole, but shit, hey. So, some of the information he said good, but when he started going down the rabbit hole of smoking and what he is and all this other shit, I just left that motherfucker alone, So anyways, you guys have a great night. Talk to you soon. Hope all goes well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. All that stuff is free. I'm not charging you anything for it. Make sure you click on the link, share the link into other Facebook and YouTube groups. I'll talk to you soon. Hope all goes well. Peace.